The next question that came to us is, my loved one is nowhere near ready to stop using. I'm working on detaching, but it's really hard. My question is this: how do I detach with love and offer the solution? And this one is a really tough one. If only it were as easy as, let me turn off my feelings for you so we can get help, and then I can turn my feelings back on when you're healthy, when I'm healthy, and when we're ready. So to dive into this one is, how do we go ahead and to detach from the emotional aspect? I don't know if we really want to do that. That's part of what makes this life so beautiful. Hear me out. I understand in the beginning that we're in that dark, dark place. But there's a couple sayings that popped to my mind. One that's kind of cheesy, but without the sour, the sweet ain't as sweet. Without light, we don't realize there's darkness. Without darkness, we don't realize there's light. So it takes this contrasting. And so what we're able to do, and what I think this is really asking, is how do I set some healthier boundaries, and how do I make sure that I'm not harmed either physically or also emotionally, psychologically, mentally, and to make sure that I have a strong enough boundary that if I can't control another person, which control's a delusion anyways, right? We can't control anything or anyone. But if this person doesn't respect what I'm doing, what I'm seeing, that I'm able to continue with myself. And so it's kind of a two-parter here. The first thing is if a person's not ready, that typically means they're not receiving the consequences for their behavior. I'm not saying go out and make a person's life a living hell, but what I am saying is what's my part? One of the most difficult parts is looking and saying, what parts of this am I making easy? Such as, we actually was just doing an intervention last week with a family, or it was 2 weeks ago with a family, and one of the questions that kept coming up is the parents bailed this individual out of jail, they were providing a car, they were doing different things that even though it wasn't intentional, kind of sent the message of, hey, if you mess up, we'll come and clean up for you, or I want to make sure you're able to continue some part of life, even though I don't agree with this aspect. And so once we get to that level where we're able to hold that line and say, I will never cut off the love from you, my love is unconditional. However, your consequences will be yours. I won't come and pick you up anymore. I won't pay for Ubers. Nowadays, we're seeing a lot of different things. I won't bail you out of jail. It's if you choose to make these decisions, such as using, then you choose to accept the consequences that come along with that. And that's the real difficult part. So like I said, it's two parts. That's the first part, is the physical boundary, and also the emotional boundary. But the next step is, what is my outlet as that loved one that is trying to get this person to say, hey, I can realize you need help. I want you to get help, but you're not quite ready yet. That other part, we're huge on Al-Anon or finding a sponsor or even a mentor, someone in the church, someone that has been through this that you can lean on, rely on, and share your information with. Because for some reason, when it's happening to us, the weight of the emotion is so stinking heavy, we don't see a way out of it. However, when someone else is coming to us, I don't know if you've ever done this before, but when people seek advice, it's so easy to see what they can do differently, but when it's us, we can't. It's even biblical. Remove the plank from my eye before I remove the speck from my brother's eye. And so that's what we're looking at is, okay, I need to lean on somebody else that can help see a more clear picture without this emotional attachment and involvement, so I can help process through, because we are hurt. And when we're hurt, we're in pain, we're vulnerable, usually stacks on even more pain, we're emotionally raw. So it's finding that healthy outlet so I can start my growing process, regardless of whether the individual is ready or not. So that's the key here is I'm getting healthy. I'm going to work on me for me, but I'm also going to work on me for you. And I would love to see you work on you for you, as well as work on you for me. That's how we're able to grow together, but we can't control that other person. So as you are able to work through your emotions, set those boundaries, then what we have found, again, another organic byproduct is usually once that old way of the old method, if you will, is done, then the person starts going, okay, I can't continue living like this because the manipulation no longer works, or people bailing me out no longer works. And then typically it's only a matter of time. We've seen it as quick as within a day or two of being cut off. And then in this most recent one, 2 weeks ago, it took about a week, week and a half before the person finally hit all the consequences, was theirs, and said, okay, now I'm ready. So I hope this answers your question of not necessarily detaching from the emotion, but better recognizing it and understanding it and how to get my needs met in a healthy way through therapy, mentor, sponsor, regardless of whether the person is ready or not. If you have any further questions, shoot us an email or leave a comment so we can go ahead and dive into that if we need to.